Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to Sunni, and peace out to the rest of you. It is a blackest heart, a blackest mind, a blackest man on social media. Sign a black in and shining again, asking you to hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. Look, some of you guys are back stuck in the West. You don't get to leave. And you can think of this as a motivational or coaching if you are, in fact, one of those guys. Now, that being said, you don't have to engage if any of them, whether it's your relative or your lady colleague that comes to you and ask you why you believe what you do, or why you stay single without knowing what you believe, whatever the case is. If you are one of those that is consistently cornered and you want to give a definitive answer, or you just have time to spar with them, then this is what you do. First thing when they ask you this is you tell them, look, what's the most likely thing to happen statistically speaking? They're not going to know, and you say, well, the most likely statistically speaking is that I'm going to get shot down, or let's say declined. Now, there are no studies that show how often these declinations are polite and how often they're rude and loud. But in the best case scenario, getting declined usually means that your chances with the next one are decreased. Really? Yes. Yeah, your chances with the next one go down each time you get declined. So, then what is the second most likely thing to happen? You wind up in a failed relationship. The third most likely thing to happen is you wind up in a marriage and it's going to end in a divorce. And if it ends in a divorce, the most likely case scenario is that she's going to be the one that files, because it happens between 70 to 80% of all divorce cases. She requested it. So you have to keep this in mind, gentlemen, that the best case scenario is that you approach her, you try to win her over, and then after you give her the commitment that she wants without her asking for it, but rather you still having to propose, you wind up being divorced. And it's her decision. So at that point, you have to say, now, if I have something to lose, then I have less of a reason to even go this route. Now, she at this point, she stomped. And if she says that's selfish or something like that, you say, well, wait a minute. Here's the thing. Let's say that you ask her, let's say that you see the man and, you want him, but he doesn't see you yet. He just doesn't know you're there. I'm not saying he hates you. He just doesn't see you, or he hasn't had time to really notice you. Nothing against you. And he can't until you say something to him. Are you going to approach him? Hell no. Most of them are going to say, hell no. There you go. Right there. You're not going to approach him. You said it. Now, even though there's some guys for whom that's not true, you will approach them. You said, hell no. So let's take your answer. Now, you ain't going to approach him. Are you going to support him? No. Okay. So he has to approach you and risk being shot down. Or let's say he has to risk being shot down, but maybe being declined, which is more likely. Politely. And in the best case scenario, he has to propose to you the commitment you already want. Then you're still more likely to take him to divorce court. Now, you already said you ain't going to approach him. Now, let's say somebody threw at you however much money you wanted for whatever cosmetic surgery you wanted, so that you could have the perfect body that you want. I mean, maybe, and when she says, what do you mean? You could say, well, what I mean is, see, to me, you look great. But, women always find something they don't like about the body. So let's say that you could get the perfect body that you want. Would you be more or less likely to approach him? She's going to say, oh, hell, I'd be even less likely to approach him. That's what she's going to tell you. Then you say, at that point, shukran jazilan. At that point, you got her. Okay, so you've just admitted that if you looked even better, just in your own opinion, if you looked even better than what you do now, you would definitely not make an approach. You'd be less likely. Okay, there you go, right there. You can't look any better than what you do. How's it going? You can't look any better than what you do and go after him. Go get your man. I mean, you say you can't do it. But then He's supposed to be and do and have more than you and come to you. Tell me at what point this is a good deal for a man. Straight up. Well, you know, you get, eventually all they're going to say is you get regular sex. When that happens, then you say to them, now let's look at what we get along with that sex. Okay? Do you believe that a man should be able to get that without some kind of headache, some kind of stress attached to it? If she says yes, you can mention the stresses that all women believe a man should have. If she says no, if she says no, you can mention them. And if she says yes, she's already confessed, you don't have to mention them. Do you now see what's going on here? You already know, but now you've got her, and that's if you want to engage in this. But at the end of the day, that's why this is titled exactly as it is. Proof positive that she's driving you away and you are not driving her away. Now this gets even deeper. That's not where it stops. There's more. Say to her, listen, hypothetical scenario. You and your husband are eating at a buffet, Ryan's or something. He's still eating. You get up to get a plate. He asks you if you will simply put 2 wings on his plate. He asks you quietly. Nobody hears you. It's just between y'all. No matter how many people are around, they don't hear you. You put 2 wings on your plate or on a side plate, whatever the case, is that okay? She might say yes, because that sounds reasonable. Then you say, okay, great. Now, you go to a cookout. Y'all know everybody there. They know you. He leans over, he asks you, whispers, when you get your plate, can you give me a plate? Just like your own plate. Whatever you put on yours, can I get one? Is it okay then to do it when all the people you know, all your girlfriends can see you making a plate for him? Is it okay then? She'll probably say, yeah, but look at the hesitation. Watch for the hesitation. If you see it, there's a reason. This is proof positive again. They're under social pressure. They're not just doing it, gentlemen. They're under social pressure to behave in such a way that drives you away. They can't get social points in the eyes of the girls without doing this. They can't even brag about who they're with, really. And they can sometimes brag about who they're with, but they really get points for who they turn down and how many they turn down. So that right there. Then they get points among their friends for what they take their ex-husbands for in court. So at the end of the day, you're dealing with this. Not only are they driving you away and you're not driving them away, and I'm talking about the West in general, but you also have to understand that they have to drive you away in order to keep the social standing and respect of many of their friends if they're the least bit ratchet, even if they're sophisti-ratchet. They have to come from conservative circles that are not culturally compatible with the rest of the West in order to be the exception. And this is why you always at every turn, before they tell you this, I'm going to tell you that they're going to tell you this. You always support one double standard. A man that does everything that they say they want men to do, that nigga's a simp, and you don't apologize for it. A woman that does what it takes to keep him happy, they call a pick-misha, and you defend them. And they're going to say, well, how come you can't stand a simp, but you're going to defend the pick-mishas? And you let them know. Well, the reason is because the pick-misha is not against the man, and she doesn't have to debase herself either. She doesn't have to meet mutually exclusive standards to get the man. She simply is saying, be fair. Let's be fair about this. The simp is unfair to himself. And you all always uphold the simp who is unfair to himself as an example for us. So for us to make you happy, we have to be unfair and unjust and oppressive to ourselves. In order for her to make him happy, she doesn't necessarily have to do that. She just has to go against what the F you want her to do, not what is against her own interest. That's the difference. And make no apologies for it. Because my title is correct, or I would not have titled it such. You did not drive her away. This is proof positive. She is driving you away, not the reverse. Thanks for listening. Black instead of black sign and blackout. Assalamu alaikum and black heterosexual male power, especially for the ones that are broke, simply because Boom Quisha, Boom Shika, and Sapphire and Sophista Ratchet don't like it.